Hello, my name is Jordyn Januzzi, and for my video presentation for Bio 182 Lab Week 16, I will be talking about two articles, one news article and one primary literature article. The news article is called Animal Behavior, Repetitive Behaviors More Common in Dogs of First-Time Owners, and the primary literature article is Aggressiveness and ADHD-like Behaviors and Environmental Influence Repetitive Dog Behaviors in Dogs. Within the last month of our lab research, we have worked a lot on animal behavior. We even did our own study on an animal and the difference between two things that they do. I did my own research on my puppy Finn and examined how he behaved inside versus outside when he was playing. So I feel like these both wrap up everything pretty well for everything that we learned about animal behavior in class and through personal research. So to start off, the news article once again is called Animal Behavior, Repetitive Behaviors More Common in Dogs of First-Time Owners. And this article basically talked about how the behaviors of dogs were 58% more likely among first-time owners compared to those who had previously owned a dog to have repetitive behaviors. And they also found that dogs that lived with one person were 33% more likely to engage in repetitive behaviors than those who lived with a family or three or more with another dog, which were 64% more likely to engage in repetitive behaviors. With that, the general conclusion of the news article's findings suggests that repetitive behaviors in dogs are complex and associated with a range of environmental, lifestyle, and genetical factors. And then the graph that is shown in this slide is one that I created myself. This was often another finding that they found from the primary literature article, but was typed in the news article, and it stated that unneutered dogs and first-time dog owners were 87% more likely to have repetitive behaviors, and then the neutered dogs also with first-time dog owners only had 13% of the repetitive behaviors. So onto the primary literature article. Like I said before, the title is Aggressiveness, ADHD, and Like Behaviors and Environmental Influences Repetitive Behaviors in Dogs. The source was from the news article, but they spoke more about how the behavioral changes like ADHD are similar to humans, and they also gave similar experiences with how they observed their dogs, just like how I observed my dog, with play and hyperactivity. In the domestic dog, spontaneous repetitive behaviors occur in many forms. Some of the forms have been categorized as locomotory, circling, tail chasing, pacing, freezing, oral chewing, aggressiveness that was self-directed, growling, biting, and other vocalizations. And then in this graph that you see on this slide, I also created, and it was directly from the primary literature article. Basically, they did a study out of 4,436 dogs. 1,315 of them displayed repetitive behaviors, and 3,121 dogs did not show any repetitive behaviors. This was about the age range for a dog during this study was 1 year old to 17.5 years old, so obviously there's a big age gap there, but the average or the mean was 4.8 years old. Obviously, this is kind of a high percentage of repetitive behavior. They stated that they observed that 16% of pet dogs did have repetitive behaviors. So obviously each time they did the experiment, they weren't going to have the exact same result because it was different dogs, different ages, different times. But it was pretty much just about that. And then so the reason I chose this news article was because of its accuracy. And to explain that more, concluding the news article accuracy was fairly easy. They did use the primary article as their source and basically only expanded on their findings and then matched them with their own. Obviously, the numbers, again, were not the same because every experiment cannot be 100% correct and accurate each time they are performed, but they can get really close to it. If anything, the news article was a lot easier to read considering the primary article was very wordy and used a lot of animal-specific vocab that a lot of people didn't understand or may not know. So basically, since the news article was based on actual experimental evidence, it was really easy to explain the accuracy and get the explanation for why they wrote it. And they wrote it just to kind of talk up to new dog owners and let them know that these things are happening and try to find ways to prevent it to give dogs a better lifestyle. This is my citation slide. It has the news article and primary literature article. And then these are the citations for the photos. They are in order of how you saw them in the presentation, and that is it.